Optimal detoxer. What did I see the post that said? Oxygen is the first and most powerful way your body can detox is with oxygen. It's what detox something that is required. In fact, I remember I was seeing a video of a guy, and if you do the consistent deep breaths, actually consciously breathing throughout the day, because it's very easy to just sit there all day and not even think about breathing at all. But if you actually consciously breathe throughout the day, you can actually get into different mental states, put it that way. You can get into a totally different mental capacity based on if you consistently breathe deeply throughout the day and consciously. Okay, this is what literally most ancient cultures who are ascended knew all about this. In fact, I believe that I saw an entire piece on how the Celtic, or Celtics, I should know how to pronounce that, from Ireland and parts of the United Kingdom, they had a whole thing on conscious breathing, very important. And then the Irish, as you know, got in a huge fight with the, royal, basically the queen. I mean, they were enslaved to the crown for 800 years, the Irish, enslaved. I'm talking whips, chains, like it was crazy. Meanwhile, they're just trying to live on their island. Now you have Northern Ireland, which is a different country than regular Ireland below it. And so it's very strange. They battled for a very long time, but they did not fully get dependence from the from the queen, from the crown, from the royal manipulators. All right. Now think about that. When you think about the United States, think about it for a second. Huge war. Okay, against being controlled by foreign oligarchs from very far away who were manipulating their banks, manipulating their cash, taking their taxes away. I mean, think about it. The American Revolution was started at least contributed to heavily by a 3% raise on tax on tea. Okay, and the Boston, all different cities in the United States were like, dude, are you kidding me? The Queen is trying to tax us. And we're our own country now. We've been here for hundreds of years. You know what? No. We don't want to be a part of the royal family's control system. You know what I'm talking about? So you got to have some pride for how the United States pulled that off. I mean, think about it. Many countries around the world literally did not revolt at all against getting fully controlled and being a Commonwealth country, like Australia, for example, who, it's funny, they regularly admit that their ancestors were, criminals, but it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, the exactly what was pulled off in the United States. It's incredible what they did. So Luxembourg, Latvia said, bro, can you explain why CO2 from cars is good? Okay, so first things first, you don't want to lock yourself in a garage with a vehicle and it be on, okay? And before I continue on that CO2 carbon myth, George Washington was still a Freemason. Well, most politicians were Freemasons. You will likely know people in your community who are Freemasons. I know several people in my community who are Freemasons, who organize community, before this bullshit, they organized community gatherings. They donated money and food to the homeless and to people who are hungry and blah, 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 blah. And, the vast majority of Freemasons are not these evil folks plotting against humanity. The vast, vast majority of them are literally your neighbors, your uncles, your this, your that. But of course, they have people, I mean, it's been oversimplified, like, Freemasons, the Freemasonic order. And I remember a guy who in my infancy, believed that Freemasonry was just this evil thing. And then I got a guy who I know, who I went to high school with, who went and joined the Freemasonic club or whatever to see what it's like. And he messaged me, he's like, dude, I joined it to try to get a firsthand experience. And dude, it is totally chill, man. Like, we organized, a community gathering. We donated food and money here, there. And I was like, I realized yes, that is the vast majority of Freemasonry is just guys hanging out, donating to things. Okay. But then of course, past a certain level, past the 33rd degree of Freemasonry is where it gets a little strange. Okay. Is where it gets a little strange. And you got to I believe what I heard, and this could be completely false, but I heard that there's a test that they present 33rd degree and above Freemasons with, who essentially, I'm just going to kick this complete glue bag out. We got no patience today for people talking smack, and this guy too. The fuck out of here, man. So, after the 33rd degree, you will eventually be presented with a test where whoever it is, the higher ups will say, hey, will you stand on the Bible or will you stand? Yeah, they say, will you stand on the Bible? This is what I heard. And if you say no, they make it seem like you passed the test. Oh, you wouldn't stand on the Bible? Okay, you passed the test. But if you say, yes, I'll stand on the Bible, you also pass the test. But some people go, so you see what I'm saying? If you pass the test because you don't stand on the Bible, you go and you join where you max out, basically, where you max out. And if you do stand on the Bible in this initiation kind of type of thing, situation, you will go to other things. And the fact that you decree that you would stand on the Bible, they get you to do some strange things. Allegedly, okay? And we do know that it seems like the most powerful and influential people are usually reached out to, and I'm not talking about these stupid spam messages you got on your Instagram that say, hello, would you like to join the Illuminati? Like, it's nothing like that. You'll get a couple guys who come up to you and say, hey, at least this is what I can picture it. Like, people who get mega famous or people who get who are featured and are making big impacts to their community, they will be approached to, hey, do you want to join the club? Like we are a bunch of influential people, blah, 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 blah. But listen, you got to understand. And it's so funny. Like there's the people who are blissfully unaware, right? There is people who are literally completely unaware of any of this stuff and who have no idea what's happening with Freemasons and all this. Then there's the first level of, wow, like there's an Illuminati out there. There's this evil system. And then in between that, you get people who are literally paranoid, who think that if someone is a Freemason, all Freemasons are evil. Or if someone is, and it's oversimplification. It's an oversimplification. And it's not true. It's not true at all. So, and then we get people in here being like, oh man, like, are you a Freemason? No, I'm not a Freemason. I've never been to, there's a Masonic hall in town. I drive by and think, damn, that's interesting. I wonder what they're talking about in there. But again, the last time I drove by the Freemasonic hall with the big, whatever it's called, the measurement devices that makes a pyramid on top of the Freemason hall, I saw like a 90-year-old man in a wheelchair getting wheeled around by other guys, smoking cigars out back behind with no masks on and everything. So to me, they're probably just a bunch of good old boys who help out their community. I don't think that there's a satanic gathering going on, okay? But that does happen. Let's not think that doesn't happen, especially when you find out what's going on in some of these Hollywood gatherings. I mean, can you believe what, for example, Alex Jones did in the, essentially he snuck into, and this was like, what was it, 1990 something, before they had full-blown sensors and cameras and facial recognition everywhere. He walked into Bohemian Grove, and he got a video of what they're doing in Bohemian Grove. I'm surprised he even made it through that forest with balls that big. You know what I'm talking about? He walked into where the satanic elite hang out. And when I say elite, I mean the inferior, okay? And so people are asking, is Alex Jones a Freemason? Is Alex Jones a Freemason? Whether he is or isn't, have you watched his videos? Have you seen the stuff he is exposing? You may not agree with all of it, but it would be difficult to find someone who has covered as many topics, as in-depth as Alex Jones. Regardless, look, this guy is, of course, saying, oh no, he is, there's all these delusions. This guy said, Freemasonry is a cult. Either an individual is in it or not evil isn't the point. Well, it is a pretty big point, wouldn't you say? Some people are joining Freemasonry it's a group of folks that hang out. You call it a cult. It's a group of folks who hang out, who help discover and plot things in their community to help make it better and whatnot. And then there's the higher level Freemasons, which are part of an organization that usually has some dirt on each other, so that if anyone speaks out, they can discredit them, just like in Hollywood, for sure. So, exactly. The Lord is faithful, says Alex Jones has controlled opposition. It's funny. I hear that every single day. about Alex Jones. I hear it about David Icke. I don't see anyone talking about any shred of evidence that Alex Jones is controlled or David Icke is controlled. And every time we talk about it, a lot of people, get pissed off and they say, no, he is, they are, blah, 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 blah. But they don't have any evidence whatsoever. David Icke, if he was a controlled disinformation agent, why have they fully deplatformed him? Why have they fully deplatformed Alex Jones? Why have they stopped Alex Jones from being able to get paid through his credit card services that he was, getting people. Yeah, exactly. Judge him by his actions and his message, not by what a little forum online says. Alex Jones is this. What's his, what's his motive? What are you watching him discuss? Exposing the anti-gun agenda. They're trying to ban this. They're trying to ban that. And he's exposing these things. He has insiders who come to him. He interviewed guys from Project Veritas the other day. Project Veritas is the guys who, they've interviewed a number of people who worked in Facebook. And you would not believe, we'll talk about this on the Telegram. I can't talk about this kind of stuff on this live feed. But if you go to my Telegram channel, fourth link in my bio, you'll see I posted a video, I think yesterday, of a couple Facebook insiders that you would not believe what is happening in Facebook. You think, so here it is. A bunch of people on this live feed, they're hearing me talk, and they're like, yeah, this guy could be, maybe some of this stuff is true, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the folks over at these mega tech companies are like, holy shit, we got to pass all this stuff really quickly so that we can make it so none of this information gets out. We got to block every single person who talks about this. We got to make sure the masses don't wake up. Meanwhile, the masses, not, necessarily all you guys, but, are sitting here and out there going, I wonder if they are trying to censor. And meanwhile, there's like literally billions of dollars being funneled right now to try to get, everyone to not find out the things that they have been hiding. And it's absolutely profound what they're truly doing right now. You would not believe. We'll talk about it in the Telegram though. Does Telegram need a phone number? Yes, it does. But you can use an app like Text Now to give you a fake phone number if you don't have, because I know some people don't have a phone. I think you're asking, but yeah, you do need a phone number, but you don't necessarily need to be on a phone plan. You can get a free app like Text Now, and you can use that to get a number to be able to use Telegram. To my knowledge, I do believe. Telegram free to join? Yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. So Project Veritas is cool. And OSXE said, David Icke worked for BBC. That should already tell you. He plays the conspiracy role. I can tell you 100% that you have not seen the videos of David Icke being interviewed by Brian Rose that got 2 million views and then were subsequently wiped off of the internet, and every single mainstream news outlet called for the complete censorship of David Icke. Okay, if he's the conspiracy role and he's controlled, why have they completely shut him down? Doesn't make sense, big guy. Watch his videos. He exposed. In fact, I heard David Icke saying something yesterday that you would not believe. Not only is David Icke's message, humanity, get off your knees, okay? And there's a whole deluded crowd that believes that Alex Jones is another person, okay? Just like, it's crazy because some celebrities, there's a theory out there that some celebrities are actually other celebrities, okay? Or that they're the same person and they look similar and blah, 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 blah. But we have too many folks who are going off the deep end here. And it's funny because you know that while you guys call David Icke and Alex Jones controlled disinfo and all this and a government agent, I get the same thing said about me. Some chick yesterday posted these stories or this post saying, look, why does he have a map of the USA behind him? What exactly is he playing at? He must be controlled. He has 800,000 followers, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because you get the sleeping masses aware, like to 1 degree above, they get slightly awake, and then they start going after their own guys here. Okay, you got people who are actually literally exposing this evil agenda, and then they get a group of folks, delusional, telling them that they are, in fact, controlled disinfo. And they're like, dude, I'm literally trying to save you from getting fully enslaved. I mean, please. So, yeah, and I seen the same thing said about Chris Sky. Chris Sky gets called a government agent, and it's just ridiculous, man. And it's funny because people who just joined the becoming aware, who just started getting more and more aware, they don't even know that people are government agents, that there are some potentially, controlled disinfo agents. And then when they hear someone like me talking about how I'm getting accused of that, they're like, dude, this is just off the deep end. It doesn't even help anyone, you know? But, and then said, so anyways, so back to what happened in Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones, okay, and by the way, the reason I'm not booted off is because I don't post stuff that gets fact checked. I have, unfortunately, in the past, but I don't post about, like this guy, the woke butcher, tells me to talk about the new passport they're trying to make. Dude, I'll do that the day I want to get deleted off of Instagram. I'll talk about that. I talk about that stuff in my Telegram channel, all right? 4th link in my bio. You don't talk about stuff like, we get these, you know, kind of, not to call you a newbie, but I mean, we get these noobs coming in. Yo, man, what do you think about the new, what do you think that thing everyone's getting in their arm? What do you think about it? Like, dude, this is not where we talk about that. Please. This is not where we talk about that. And because, you know, most people are getting deleted for having any type of opinion that's contrary to the corporate narrative. All right. You got to be smart. You got to be smart. That's exactly right. You got to be smart. And, some guy, so that chick yesterday who was talking smack about me saying I'm a agent because I have a map of the USA behind me, totally delusional. One of the comments was, yeah, I stopped following him because, and there's a meme, of people who announce they're unfollowing. And it's like, dude, that's like, you know, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But yeah, Chris Guy was deleted off of Instagram, by the way. So we had... So someone commented and said, yeah, I stopped following Connecting Consciousness. He doesn't post any hardcore stuff anymore. He tries not to get censored. I'm thinking, here you are with 100 followers, a private account, and you post nothing. and you're saying this guy with this account should be posting the stuff that gets him deleted. That would make him real. I'm thinking, yeah, dude, real, you know, real, no longer visible to the public. You know what I'm talking about? We got to be smart. We got to play it smart. To mention, what's better? If I made a documentary, a quick little 20-minute, 15-minute documentary, and I interviewed or got the interviews of the folks who, let's kick this, I don't know. And I got interviews of the scientists who worked at Monsanto and who have the scientific evidence, okay, that they have added sterilization agents into the food that hundreds of millions of people eat, okay? So, in other words, there is clearly evidence that the institutions, many of them, are literally attempting a mass sterilization agenda where the population gets depopulated because they can't reproduce. I could put a documentary together and it would get fact-checked, censored, deleted. People would lose their shit. It'd be crazy. Instead, what we do is we talk about the benefits of organic. I mean, I'll talk about a little bit about the benefits of non-GMO, as opposed to exposing the dangers and the true agenda behind genetically modified foods. Just remember, if GMOs were so safe, okay, you got to ask yourself why they would try intentionally to remove the biggest Facebook pages talking about GMOs who have interviewed these scientists, okay? Remember, someone says, trust the science. And I say, you know that scientists are just as easily bought and paid for as politicians, if not more. If not more. So, yeah, exactly, Vlad Pop, exactly. That's the difference. I'm kind of under the radar. So that's the thing, is that they are censoring people's opinions about GMOs. And then at the exact same time, they're funneling money to make it fully... They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure that you don't know what the ingredient is that is genetically modified food. In other words, they intentionally have pushed legislation through so that they don't have to write on a genetically modified food that it's genetically modified. That's how much Monsanto believes in their product. And you know what? This is the funniest thing. Just hear me out. They don't want you... Their cover story for trying to hide GMOs from the food that you're eating, their cover story is that they don't believe that the public understands the science. And through misinformation and through lack of knowledge will wrongly avoid GMOs because they don't understand the science, okay? Monsanto and these corporations are trolling your ass. They are laughing, okay? They are literally laughing that the population have there's one side of the coin that's what's a GMO. The other side is, GMOs are so toxic, we avoid them at all costs. Then there's the middle who's like, I'll avoid them if I see them, but I don't think it's that big a deal. And meanwhile, these folks at the tip of these mega corporations, food chains, are wondering, how they can get more and more people consuming it. And one of the ways is by hiding the ingredient from the food supply so no one even knows they're consuming it. But they're laughing at your ass, man, because they're paying money. They're telling you that it's so good, it will save the world, but they're hiding it so that you don't even know you're eating it. Don't you think if you had a product that you swore behind, that you wouldn't try to hide it from the consumer market? Please. Monsanto. So here's Rays of Sun, and she obviously has paid attention because this is one of the studies that's been buried. Monsanto did an experiment for 6 months and it was deemed okay for use. A French scientist used Monsanto for 2 years and on average there were 3 tumors per rat and hormones were completely reversed. Okay, so just like you have atrazine that reverses the production of hormones in rats and mice, you have the production of hormones reversed in rats and mice from GMOs, not just from pesticides. You know why? Because GMOs have this pesticide within it. It's in the DNA of it. However that works, they're trying to hack into this matrix. I'll tell you something. They call GMOs biotech, right? It's biology merged with technology. So when you look out at this beautiful natural world, you saw my stories today, blue sky, green trees, it's literally beautiful. They are trying to use science and evil scientists to hack into this natural world that we live in. And they are trying to, like the epicite gene. The epicite gene is the gene that made rats and mice infertile, which they then subsequently added to genetically modified corn. So if you see corn and it's not organic, or you see the term natural flavors, or you see the term citric acid, and vitamin C is even allowed to be from absorbic acid. They can call it absorbic acid. They can call it vitamin C, and they're legally allowed to be derived from genetically modified corn that has the epicite gene in it. So when you're wondering what's the best way to depopulate, if you think that's a possibility, it's either mass killing of the population or mass infertility. And it is seemingly, all things are pointing towards, this is a long play. This is a long game. They got a long-term goal here. And it's not to mass kill you all. It's to depopulate through infertility. And you're going to say, dude, that's the biggest conspiracy I ever damn heard. Well, tell me this. Riddle me this then. Epicite, Epicyte. Have a little look-see about, go on BitChute, which is the alternative to YouTube, and type in Epicite, Epicyte, and see what the scientists are talking about who fully expose that this is being added to genetically modified corn. And why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? If our health and safety are their priority, then please just tell me. And these Mayans and these Mexicans will be really damn pissed off that they found out that their ancient corn was genetically modified into a literal bioweapon. I mean, come on. Someone said, what is the reason for depopulation? Depopulation, it's easier to manage a global society if there's less numbers of folks. It's as simple as that, unfortunately. Not to mention, through getting you into a state of infertility, they're also weakening your entire system. They're weakening your ability to produce hormones. They're weakening your ability to be in a heightened state. I mean, they want you basically turned off. And a lot of these foods and a lot of these chemicals, like the fluoride as well, put you in a state where, if you can picture let's think of a good metaphor, like when something is dormant, you have DNA strands in you that are very powerful and very enable you to access literally completely different possibilities and realities than right now. You have these DNA strands dormant in you. However, they're not supposed to be dormant. They're dormant because we're eating food that has 10% of the minerals they should have. These DNA strands are dormant because we're consuming and showering in fluoride and chlorine and trace pharmaceuticals. These DNA strands are dormant because of what they're doing, trying to control the food supply. Tinfoil Hat Maker said she's infertile. This bums me out. Hey, please don't think that just because you're infertile means you can never be reactivated, okay, restored and rejuvenated. So someone asked here, and this is going to cover two questions at once. What's the best liver cleanse? So we were talking about this yesterday. The FDA has launched new regulations. They're trying to remove a lot of supplements they're trying to remove a lot of ingredients from the supplement industry. One of which is the NAC. NAC is a natural amino acid that's present in the Apex glutathione. Chalk has to reformulate the new Apex glutathione, which is only a few months old, because they have the ingredient NAC in it, which is highly beneficial for your liver function. Now you got to wonder, if your liver gets bunged up by chemicals and by fluoride and GMOs, and you have amino acid that's clinically studied to support liver function and many other things, like this is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's funny that they would ban it, eh? Noble Sword said there's no need for supplements. Well, I guess you don't need them, dude, so I'll just boot you out. What a ridiculous sentiment. Are you kidding me, dude? Even if you're eating fully organic, you're only getting 10% of the matrix of minerals. If you're taking something like Irish Moss, it's certified organic, certified wild crafted Irish Moss, you're getting the full matrix. You can't sit there and think, it's funny when people say, dude, you don't need supplements, man. You got to go natural. All chalk supplements are natural. In fact, the purified Shilajit has 8 different clinical studies on the ability for it to support fertility, reproductive health, and restores genetic function, because there are 40 trace minerals in here. And these trace minerals bands that are light coats. And what I forget what it's called. It's Fred Bell. Type in his most famous book. And essentially, he has an entire chapter. Minerals are frequencies of light. The reason why there's an intentional plot to remove minerals, there is an intention, a fully intentional plan to get the minerals out of the food and water supply. Unfortunately, just due to the fact that they have such a profound effect on human consciousness, okay? Someone said, do all supplements get absorbed by the body? Definitely not. The vast majority of mineral supplements you can go buy at the grocery store or the health food store are not bioavailable. They're not absorbable to the body, as opposed to something like Irish Moss, which is a superfood, has the full matrix of minerals in its natural bioavailable state, which is already present. Eggs of Irish Moss you can buy online, most of which are farmed and fertilized, and even some are herbicided. And they're also grown next to areas with high amounts of microplastics and shipping activity that you don't want. Chalk has the only certified wildcrafted, certified organic Irish Moss that's grown in Canada, in Nova Scotia, and it's pristine, cold waters, no microplastics. By far the best Irish Moss that you can get on the entire internet, for sure. 100%. Show me lab tests, compare lab tests back and forth. You will see the difference for yourself. So very good question. Now, someone asked about fertility specifically. Remember that this is the only clinically studied hot water purified Shilajit, and it does have, one of the clinical studies supports a lot of evidence to do with pro-cognitive function, so super good for brain function and hormone production. So ladies who have low levels of estrogen and they're feeling more, altered because of the endocrine disrupting chemicals, if you're taking something like Shilajit, for men and women, this balances hormones. This optimizes hormones. So for guys, it boosts testosterone, because most guys have a fraction of the testosterone they should have. And for ladies, it balances hormones. Very, very powerful, something like Shilajit. And for guys, of course, the number one chalk supplement to take is the daily, because the main ingredient is the Shilajit, and there's 4 other adaptogens. And someone over here said, what if I told you that salt is so powerful that's why they say it's bad? Salt is definitely, there's no life without salt. Salt is very, very powerful. You got to be careful, though, because the reason that they're demonizing salt is because of the minerals. It's a very good source of minerals. That is the same reason why Irish moss is one of the best sources. It is, it's in a very clean area. Form. So the National Journal of Ayurvedic Medicine and the traditional means for shilajit consumption in ancient India was that they would take the rock solid shilajit, they would use hot water to purify it, and then they would evaporate the water, and that would create a powder. The shilajit powder, there's a lot of folks out there who are fully delusional, who are spreading disinformation that says that shilajit tar is the best, most pure form of shilajit. I got news. Shilajit in its natural form is solid. So if you get shilajit in a tar form, it's minimum 20 to 30% water. You don't want it. It can be very easily tampered with. If you go to the lab tests and certifications and clinical studies at chalk.com and check out their shilajit, compare lab tests, you will see it's a night and day difference from the tar resin that you can get drop shipped from India. So yes, very good question. So absorbic acid and citric acid is GMO. That's true, Byron Nelson. That is true. Citric acid and absorbic acid are legally allowed to be Destinela said, I heard that the resin is better than the powder. Of Ayurvedic Medicine, you will see they actually advise against consuming shilajit tar resin because it is so easy to adulterate. And there's the folks who are selling you the drop ship stuff from India, that's, $2. Countries have banned shilajit importation because it's been so adulterated. You want to make sure that you are getting the clinically studied and certified and the stuff that actually has the lab tests versus the cheapy deepy stuff you can buy, like I said, in a Ziploc bag on Amazon or whatever. You got to watch out. So someone said here, what about sea moss gels? Again, most of that comes from sea moss or Irish moss that's grown in areas with a high amount of microplastics. I would sooner, it's kind of like a concentrate. That's what I take with the Irish moss. That's best. I mean, for recipes, that's up to you. But in terms of strictly getting the full matrix of minerals without any microplastics, with a super high concentration, it's the dense mineralization for the body, Irish moss is by far. Now remember, just so you know, when the FDA launches a new initiative and wants to ban astragalus, which is a root extract that is clinically studied to lengthen telomeres, it has anti-aging effects on the brain. That's astragalus. The FDA is trying to ban it. That is one of the ingredients in the chalk armor. These three of their supplements initiative has been launched by the FDA. They're trying to ban parsley extract. They do have legislation coming in the future. They're trying to go after shilajit. As you know, shilajit is literally one of the most famous substances in the natural world for having a profound effect on hormones, energy levels, brain function, mineralizes the body, has effects on pro-cognitive function, which means, memory, concentration, and focus. The FDA is coming for shilajit. Chalk doesn't want people to have to, think about it, government. So I can tell you this is what would happen. They would try to ban shilajit, and then they would regulate it. So you need a prescription, and you need to get it from them. And so that's why we got to be very careful how much we give to these folks, how much we let them fully influence what we can